Let's get started. So, what is reparative development? Next slide. So, reparative development is about real estate seeking to right a wrong. It's basically healing damage that was caused by past policies and projects. Reparative development is a new way to kind of reconceptualize reparations. It's a way that where there involves a form of acknowledgement and apology to the community in which the wrong occurred, and to get displaced community back where they need to be. In the city of Portland, the mayor, Ted Wheeler, came out and issued an apology to the community. It was deafening, because oftentimes we know that people don't always, when we say people, we say elected officials don't also take accountability for what occurred. Even though it wasn't underneath their watch, it's still the institution that needs to right that wrong and acknowledge what happened. And that's exactly what Ted Wheeler did. And so because of that, this reparative development was born, and we're able to realize something new. Reparations should be both individual and community-based, and that's what reparative development does. It's also a forward-looking principle or policy or initiative that gets us to move from what happened to something beautiful. It's also important to note that reparative development really involves a collective effort. It is not just about nonprofits doing work or development doing work. It's really about everybody coming to the table. The community, nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations, government, legislators, everyone you could possibly think of should be at the table. It is not a place to point the finger about what happened, who did what. It's about moving forward together by a community-led approach. So this is what reparative development is, and we're going to take you through a journey about what Williams and Russell has uncovered and how we're healing and righting past wrongs that occurred to this project. Next slide.
So let's get into the history of our project and some of the goals that we're trying to hit.
Sorry, having some mouse malfunctions on my end.
It's fine. So I'll start with the history. The history of our site. It's located in Portland, Oregon. This site used to be the center of the Black commercial district in the 40s to the 60s. Can you go to the next slide? The city condemned the site back in the early 70s under urban renewal. And this condemnation displaced 171 families, 74% which were African American, 36 businesses were displaced. And then after they demolished everything on this site, this block in particular remained vacant for over 50 years. It wasn't until earlier this year that it had been just an empty grass field in the middle of the city. In 2017, Prosper and Legacy Health, Legacy Health being the new owner of the hospital, agreed to convene a project working group of community members in order to determine the disposition of the site and how to give the site back to the community. Next slide. So we convened a project working group in 2018, and through the project working group, we surveyed community members. We looked at several different potential options and things, and really tried to determine what the goals were for the project. And we came up with 4 kind of main concrete goals. The first is we needed affordable housing. And people didn't want just affordable rental housing. Portland is one of the epicenters of the housing crisis. And so both ownership and rental to serve a broad range of people, of income levels, was necessary for this site. We also really wanted entrepreneurial training and support. Too many projects focus only on housing, and a key component for wealth creation and for the wealth restoration that we want in this project would be supporting supporting the businesses and supporting renewal of businesses, since so many were lost in the initial destruction. We also wanted to have a place where people could gather, a community place where people could center and really really coalesce and return to the neighborhood, even if they weren't able to live on the site or have a business on the site. We wanted a place where people could gather and hold events. And then lastly, we wanted the development. We wanted these buildings. We wanted these features to be high quality. We didn't want to return to the apartment slums of the 60s and 70s affordable housing. We wanted these things to be energy efficient. We wanted these buildings to be built to last, and we wanted people who lived and occupied these buildings to really feel a sense of quality with what we built. Next slide. So after we gathered these values, we sent out an RFP to the broader market to determine what and who would be our developers. And the real emphasis in this process was focusing on the who, and then a little bit on the what. Our community and a lot of communities generally don't trust developers. They don't often have the community first in mind. And so making sure that we partnered with the right developer that really understood the values that we were trying to bring to the project was going to be key. In order to make this project successful, we've got to build trust build trust in the team that's doing the actual building. Next slide.
Perfect. That's where I will come in. And as Azalea said, I am new to the team, but I'm here to introduce our amazing executive team and our board of directors. So each of us in this role is deeply committed to reparative development and ensuring that the project reflects the community priorities. As you can see, Azalea and Bryson are here, but we also have a very dedicated staff. Joy, Philip, myself, Nicole, and Zanisha, and Jake are here to just focus on this project and move it forward to the best of our abilities. And our board of directors is deeply connected to Black Portland's community, many of which have deep ties to the Albina neighborhood, and they serve as trusted stewards and advisors to moving the project forward. Next slide, please. Alongside our intentional leadership, we've partnered with amazing developer team, architecture, and design team, which is all people of color, very culturally rooted, and they bring a wide array of expertise to this project. Audrey is focusing on the housing and the business hub, while PCRI will steward the apartments. The Colas construction is doing the construction for the whole site, as well as lever and hood design, lever focusing on the architect, hood design focusing on the landscape. Could we have the next slide, please? Oh, I don't know that that's my slide.
So we obviously couldn't do this project without having very stringent and strong social equity measures in place for the building and construction of the site. And so as Tanisha describes, we've got a very diverse leadership team. We've got all of our development team are Black led. And we really maintain our commitment to engaging diverse consultants at every stage of the process, not just the people who are going in, but the people who are building, the people who are marketing, and the people who are advising us. 100% of our contracted dollars will go to a Black-owned firm. We've set a target of over 30% of subcontractors will be women and or BIPOC-owned businesses, which as of now, I believe we're well exceeding that. Our programming on the site, especially in the business hub, once it's completed, will be grounded in culturally specific services. And our housing leasing and sales will follow the North-Northeast preference policy, which will focus on bringing people back to the site who were displaced by the original hospital expansion. Next slide. Another key development here, and this really gets to our quality point that we really wanted to emphasize, is the sustainability of this project. So all of our buildings are going to meet some sort of green building certification, either LEED or Earth Advantage. We've been working with the Energy Trust of Oregon to do a lot of studies around district energy, around net zero, and to really make sure that the various components of this project have low utility costs, are energy efficient, and are high quality. Each of the projects are going to have solar generation. The townhomes, the apartments, and the business hub will all have their own separate solar generation. Several of the townhomes, actually 16 of the 20 townhomes will be net zero, and 4 of them will be very near net zero when it comes to energy production. The business hub is going to use cross-laminated timber as the main construction material, and we've really been able to do all of this and really up the quality of what we're doing, as well as support the sustainability of what we're doing through funding from Portland's Clean Energy Fund. And so I think at the end of the day, what we're really looking for is, again, that high quality, that long-lasting quality, as well as this being like really having a bit of a landmark quality to the buildings themselves, and being a long-term place for people to house themselves, house their businesses, without having major maintenance and utility costs in the future. Next slide.
Perfect. So for community involvement, the community involvement is at the heart of reparative development. Our approach is simply everyone who is touched by the project deserves a seat at the table. Reparative development just means everyone, residents, churches, nonprofits, youth, elder, and any adjacent communities that will be touched by the project should have a voice. We're prioritizing collaboration and transparency so that the trust is continuously built throughout the project. Next slide, please. Oh, I think I got a little ahead of myself. We can go to the next slide. That's the one I was speaking of. And so our engagement tactics so far. Oh, I'm sorry. Perfect. Okay, so our engagement tactics so far, we've engaged the community through workshops, block parties. We are hoping to do some surveys soon, and there has been surveys done by some of the development teams as well, events like Juneteenth, and we're just really trying to focus on and ensure that every resident voice shapes both the design and the future programming. Moving forward in the future, we'd like to do some listening sessions to partner with the local businesses and just the community in a whole to see what they truly, really want for this project and how we can just really boost the community and add to it. We also, and I'm sorry, you could go to the next slide, just some of our ongoing partnerships. As I said, building trust will really be about being consistent and transparent. Our partnerships span through nonprofits, schools, churches, neighborhoods, because we're really hoping to have a lasting impact that will always require collaboration for us. So some of the tactics we hope to use, again, is just continuous partnerships, emphasis on youth and family programming and post-construction phases, commitment to leave no stone unturned when making sure that the government, local organizations, and community members are all aligned at every stage of the project. With that, I'll pass it back to Bryson, I believe, or are we going to Tori?
We're going to funding. So,
Sorry.
I thank you, Tanisha, and thank you, Bryson. Funding is so instrumental to everything we do. It makes the world go round. It is not, there's very few things you can do in this world without funding, at least to be sustainable. So in that endeavor, I want to talk about how important funding is into reparative development. Next slide, please. So Williams and Russell is big on our mission. It is really driving our funding initiatives. We are looking for funding and making sure we're an eligible partner, making sure you need to obtain a grant writer immediately. We have Joy Dickinson, who's our Chief Development Officer, who's phenomenal at what she does. Again, this funding does not need to be solely on foundations, but you really do need government interfaces. You need private charities, all kinds of philanthropy at different levels in order to make reparative development work. It is a collaborative effort. No one can be left off the table, even individual folks who just want to donate something. Computer partners are essential. Funding that gives project legitimacy. So we have one of our notable funders here, 1803 Fund, who I'm going to ask Tori to speak in just a moment. Again, they are simply, truly, truly, truly dedicated to being investors in and for the community and for our people. So I can't wait to hear Tori speak and let you all hear about what 1803 is doing. We're also striving for quality, right? So we need to bring in extra money to make sure that we're building buildings that are not only sustainable and scalable, but also that are really people can be proud of. We don't want rinky-dink buildings because this is reparative. So it must meet the mold and make sure that people can feel good about what they're getting. It's about wealth creation and reciprocity. And then also you need to establish a major funding avenue early. Some of the things that we learned from this project is that when we identify those pipelines and to make sure we get our builds, you can't do this stuff arbitrarily. You really need to have a plan. The plan is you have to be able to get a plan and make sure you identify every single funder that you possibly can. We actually have a person that's dedicated to making sure we get federal dollars, state dollars, and then private philanthropy. Again, this is no easy effort. With that, next slide. I want to turn to our very own Tori Campbell. He's the Vice President of Community Investment over at 1803 Fund. Tori, welcome. So happy to have you. I would just love.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I would love if you can just kind of speak to about 1803 and what 1803 Fund is doing and why Williams and Russell was so lucky to be a recipient of your fund.
No, good to be here. Good afternoon, good people. I would definitely say Williams and Russell is not lucky. You are right in our crosshairs in terms of mission alignment. What 1803 Fund exists to do and be. And so I'll just take a few moments to share a little bit about our fund. We are brand new in many ways, just over 2 years that we've been in existence and eager to do the work of what we have been mandated to do. So 1803 Fund, we invest, as Azalea mentioned, in and for Black Portlanders, generating both social and financial return through our community partnerships, as well as our real asset investments. And the way we've kind of described our work, if you will, is 1803 Fund as a house. And so the roof equals our investments. So everything under our 1803 Fund portfolio, it really is an investment for long-term impact. In this way, we're not traditional spend down philanthropy, nor are we parachuting in social impact investing. Our seeds that we're planting financially into our community really is to see an enduring and population-wide return. A lot of times when we talk about our work, we are thinking 100-year arc in terms of what will we be, how will we be prosperous, how will we be rooted as a community 100 years from now. And so our work today definitely informs that, and that's the way in which we approach the work. So you have the roof, you have the living room, which we call our community partnerships. It's the work that we get to do with you. Our community partnership practice is our public facing side of our practice. It's like our living room, if you will. It's the space where we fellowship, where community gets together, where folks come to your house and you make them feel at home in your living room. So our community partnership work is an essential part of how we function. It is the place that we convene so many community partners, and we'll continue to grow that reach to do the work that we have to do collectively in our lift to support our community. And then the last place of the house is our kitchen, which is our real asset investments. The kitchen nourishes the life, much like our real asset investment will nourish our fund. So it's the place where we cook it up, and we want to grow our fund, which started the generous gift from Phil Knight of $400 million. And we know that that is a good chunk of change to begin with, but clearly not enough to truly meet all of the needs, both current and aspirational and goals that we want to establish for our community 100 years down the road. So the intention is to actually grow that 400 million to 2 billion so that we really can continue our work in perpetuity. And the last thing I'll say, and really dovetail into how the Williams and Russell project stands out to us as such a great example of not only reclamation, but a chance to create a different kind of narrative of being rooted and prosperous within the Northeast area, and particularly the albino community. There are 3 areas of investment for us as an organization, 3 core programs. The first is culture, which is the veneration and vibrance of our culture. It's investing in arts, cultural programming and institutions. The second one, which we're standing up now, is education, which is just the well-being of our youth, from investments from cradle to grave. And then the third one is place, which is about permanence of our physical space, where our people live, where we do life together, where we play, where our third spaces are. And so we invest in physical infrastructure. And Williams and Russell's represents, in many ways, all of those things, but definitely place. And so we're very, very thrilled to see that this project was finally coming to fruition. And as Azalea said, it just needed the funding to begin to see the shovels get into the ground. And so our commitment is twofold. It's been a $2.5 million investment over 5 years to support the ongoing work and construction of all of the designs and everything that's going to go into really this amazing new space. But also, in addition to that, we are committed to seeing our organizations really thrive through the growth and strengthening of leaders and organizational effectiveness. And so Williams Russell is a part of a cohort, which we call For the Future, and it's a 5-year cohort. Where a group of 11 organizations representing both culture and place are doing life together. And the goal is in those spaces is to grow the organization's ability to do their work, to serve their communities within their mission, but also to create the space where collaboration can happen. Because one of the things we realize and we're learning is that for us to do this work, we have to have a radical level of collaboration. And so we want to create that space for that to happen. And this is our work. This is our mission. It's rooted in the story of a Black man named York, who was enlisted to help Lewis and Clark in 1803 navigate into the Pacific Northwest. He was a tradesman. He was a healer. He was also a slave to Lewis. And part of the promise to him was that in his help with him, that he would see his freedom in the Pacific Northwest, of which he never did. And so we take what he probably thought when he was journeying here, the freedom, the opportunities that he would see. And we actually want to actualize those so they really embody so much of who we are. So 1803 stands to do that. We can't do it without ambitious, hungry, determined, and focused partners like Williams and Russell. So we are delighted to be a part of this project. It is a long time coming, and yet it represents a very promising future for us in the Northeast area.
I love that, Tori. Thank you so much. I do want to ask you a quick question, if I may. I know folks are wondering, it's one thing to get selected and to be given a chance to be able to do this meaningful work. How does 1803 hold recipients like ourselves accountable to make sure the job is actually being done and that we can keep that we're actually meeting goals and objectives, especially when people are at various different places?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think we all are committed to doing excellent work. But, my grandpa said you can't expect what you don't inspect. And so accountability is imperative. And so we do that in a number of ways. One is just through an ongoing relationship. So we always talk, Azalea, you and I get on calls frequently just to check in, not a gotcha, not to be punitive, but to say, sis, how you doing? How can we support you? This work is real. It's difficult. It's hard. We also use data as a way to capture. So we've all set up a set of goals of what does it mean to be successful? What does that look like over the time arc of your work? And also in particular, the ways in which your organization needs to be supported in building its infrastructure to really be able to house the vision and move it across the finish line. And so we use metrics as a way to capture those things as well, like, president's involvement, commitment, all those things. But again, it really is a collaboration. We recognize that you do work that we cannot do, and we do work that you cannot do. And so there is a mutual commitment to one another and accountability in that way.
I love that. Bryson, Tanisha, did you guys have any questions? Did you want to pose to Tori?
Yeah, Tori, I had a question. How did you guys determine the categories of community partners when you were going out to find them?
Yeah, so it was a series of steps. I think the first one was just a year of listening, just being in community. I think part of the beauty of 1803 Fund is that it's led by our fearless leader, Rakai Adams, who is a Portland native, but a large proportion of our staff live and call Portland home, have grown up here. And so being in community already has given us, I believe, a real strong advantage of knowing how we show up, knowing the strength of the organizations that exist. So just a year of being in community, listening, observing, thinking about our mission and mission alignment. And then we basically did an invitation to organizations that we felt like would be able to be the right partners in this season that would align with our mission, not only of the focus of your work, but also a commitment to collaboration, which again is central in this work moving forward and could help us all collectively achieve our goals. As an application process, we reviewed and we made those decisions at that point for our current cohort.
I love that, Tori. I know that in terms of you all being a funder, I know that do you feel like you serve more as I don't know if I could how to say this, more as, do you guys do a lot of interfacing with the actual banks, or are you guys just as a standalone organization choosing and picking who you support?
Yes, we're the latter. So I think part of the uniqueness of our fund, and it's a private fund, is we have a level of nimbleness and commitment to our mission in a way that we don't dance to anyone else's beat but ours, right? And I think that also is often rare within our community, where many of the resources that we have to pursue require a whole lot of hustle, oftentimes quite a few hoops you have to jump through. Some of that is necessary, but oftentimes it slows our progress. And what we believe we stand to be in a unique position is to be able to be exact in the resources that we can deploy to meet the ready needs of our community when those needs arise, but also to do it in a sustainable way over the long haul. So we are who we are in terms of the funding that we have. It's for us to steward, for us to grow, and for us to invest into our community.
I love that. Well, I hope you stick around because there might be some folks in the gallery who's
Okay.
listening who might have questions for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, y'all.
Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we do have Tamara from Heritage Bank, as well as Joe Davis from On Point Bank, who's our bankers, who are also in the gallery, who may come up at some point at the end for Q&A. I just want to say thank you for coming. Again, this whole idea about funding is so imperative to everything we do. Construction loans are necessary, but they're not easy to obtain. Having a good banking partner to help things move and keep things going in terms of lines of credit, in terms of just finding investment paths is super, super duper important. And I would love if Tamara and Joe can stay on just in case we ask you guys to come up to the panel at the end. Passing back over to Bryson.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about kind of our future vision with our project. Kind of starting with what our project is generally going to look like. Next slide. So our project is really broken down into about 3.5 different projects across the whole block. The first project is we'll be starting here in about a month's time, and it's the Affordable Homeownership Project. And you can see that stretching across what is Northeast Knott Street in the foreground of the image. And what these are 20 individual townhomes that are split along in a row. And these 20 townhomes are really trying to hit that missing middle housing. We're aiming between 60 and 100% AMI for the future owners of these townhomes. They're going to be between 2 and 3 bedrooms. The 2 bedrooms being the smallest at about 1,200 square feet. We've got a 3-bedroom that will be about 1,600 square feet. And then we've got a 3-bedroom that will have a fully ADA accessible ADU on the ground floor. That will be about 1,800 to 1,900 square feet. Now, all of these should be qualified for Portland's down payment assistance program. And so that we expect the buyers will be coming, not only will get the benefit of our reduced prices, but will also get the benefit of that program. We're also going to be leaning on, as I mentioned several slides ago, we'll be leaning on Portland's North-Northeast preference policy in order to determine who gets the opportunity to buy these homes. And that is really kind of one of the ways that projects like this can be reparative without violating the laws that we have in place to protect people. So the preference policy really connects a list of prospective buyers who were impacted from the initial harm that this project is trying to work to correct, to our project. And we have that list, and we're going through that list now. And Portland Housing Center, our partner on that, is helping us go through and get those buyers lined up for when pre-sales for these start in January. Now, each of these townhomes will have their own parking pad in front of the unit. And they will have their own back door or backyard outdoor space on the other side of the unit, which you can't see in this image. All of these units are going to be Earth Advantage Platinum. That's the certification that we're going to be able to hit with this, which is pretty much the highest that we could hit as far as the housing side of sustainability measures. And part of that, which you can't see in this image because it's on the other side of the roof, is that all of these units will have solar panels and solar power, which will make 16 of them net zero as far as energy usage, and get the other 4 very close to net zero. We will start these construction on these as soon as we are done remediating the site, which we expect to be at the end of next month. And construction will take about a year, and so you can expect to see these fully completed by around October of 2026. The second project that we have are the affordable apartments. Now, that's the big blue building that you see in the background. This is going to be a 6-story, 85-unit apartment building where we're really targeting 30 to 60% AMI. And so we're getting that level below the townhome, where the townhomes focus. These are going to be mainly 2 and 3 bedroom units. There's only going to be a couple of 1-bedroom units per floor, because what we really wanted to do was focus on family size units, so full families could move into these units and really live here, as opposed to having lots of studios or lots of 1-bedroom units where only smaller family units could live. There'll be several different types of amenities in this building. We're going to have a community room in there. We're going to have culturally specific resident services. And on the ground floor, on the Vancouver side, and so that's the right side of the building as far as this image goes, there's going to be culturally specific early childhood services. So we've been working with an organization that currently has a location up in Vancouver called Learning Train Academy, run by a nonprofit run by 2 local Black women who will go in that bottom floor and provide childcare to the residents of the building, the residents of the townhome, and then other people around the community. The affordable apartments will have a small dedicated parking lot that kind of tucks under the left side of the building, which will have about 14 stalls. But they will also have at night access to the parking along the north side of Knott Street, which you can kind of see in the foreground of the image. We're aiming for LEED Gold for the certification for this building, or this might also fall under the Earth Advantage. We will make that determination as we get a little bit further along in the process. We're expecting these apartments to be the next project that really gets underway, and will likely be fully completed by the end of 2027, maybe the first half of 2028. When we look at the two housing projects together, we're really aiming to serve a broad continuum of housing and a broad continuum of the people in this community that struggle to find housing. So again, from the apartments to the townhomes, we're hitting all the way from 30% of the area median income all the way up to 100% of the area median income. And so we're really getting that like middle of the range and that lower end of the range included in the housing offerings on this site. I mentioned the preference policy. The apartments will use the preference policy for rental housing when we determine who can go in the apartments. The entire building will use the preference policy, and that is really how we can connect this housing service to the community that we're really trying to bring back to this part of the city. Like I mentioned with the apartments, but it really goes with the townhomes, and you can really see it. And it was one of our main intentions when it came to designing our housing pieces, having things that are family sized. So 2 and 3 bedrooms for the townhomes, mostly 2 and 3 bedrooms for the apartments, and having the ADUs in some of the townhomes. We're really trying to make it so full families can live here together, and you can have sometimes multi-generational family units in the same housing unit. The last thing I want to talk about with the housing is kind of hits on what I mentioned earlier about sustainability. This is going to be resilient housing that's responsive to climate change, that can provide comfort to the residents and provide security to the residents as we face the many challenges that climate change brings about. So if we're looking at potentially hot areas in the summer, these units will be able to stay cool. So our residents will be able to remain comfortable, but also still be able to maintain a good quality of life, even in the hot bits of the summer. The solar, which is going to be on the apartments as well as on the townhomes, is going to provide energy storage and energy generation in case we have something like happened 2 years ago where snow knocked out the power to this part of the city. Our units will still be able to stay online despite issues like that coming up. And again, we're really trying to up that quality level so that these are places that people want to live, and these are places that will really stand the test of time. The third project that we have is kind of our centerpiece project, and this is our business hub. This is the tan building that you see on the left of the image, and this is where we hit a lot of the other key goals and values of our development. This is going to be ultimately is going to be a 3-story, 26,000 square foot building, where we're going to house multiple different types of services as well as businesses. So we are looking to house some workforce training and education programming in the business hub, co-working space for newer office based businesses, along with business accelerator services connected to that office space. We are also working with several of our other community nonprofits to house business funding services, business navigation services, and other back office business support services, all in one spot, so that the people who are tenants of our building, as well as other businesses around the community, have one central location that they can go to get all of those services. When it comes to the community space and having a place where people can gather, where people can hold events, that's where this building will really come into play. Through this building will include the central plaza area in the center of the development, which will be landscaped by Hood Design, and really provide an area where people can gather, where people can hold events, and things like that. The third floor of this building will also provide a large outdoor space, actually larger than is shown in this rendering because it's a slightly older design of what we have. But that space will be a community space in and of itself, but will also be able to interface with the space below. And so taken in combination, we will have a good amount of community space for the people in the neighborhood, for the residents to use, for the tenants of the business hub to use, and for the other members of the community to use. This building is also designed to have its own parking with 27 stalls under the building. We know parking is important, and especially will be important for access to the retail. And so having that underground parking, as well as some parking you can't see behind the building, and use of that not street parking during the day will help businesses in the building both attract customers as well as make easy access for employees. This project, we are in the middle of the design phase for. As I mentioned, this is actually a slightly older design than what we have at the moment. We're looking to finish this design by around the end of next year, and then construction for the business hub should finish probably the middle, maybe Q3 of 2028. All right, next slide.
And so thanks, Bryson. And just adding to that, just to let you know that the townhomes are fully funded. We're happy to report that. So we literally got three more parts of the project to go, and we're still actively raising funds. So again, funding is a constant must. And so we're just super committed to making sure we touch each and everybody we possibly can to get them on this project. And remember, reparative development involves everybody. So anybody that's willing to serve this purpose and stand behind the folks about reciprocity and reparations in a meaningful way, that where people can actually see it, we're totally interested in having a conversation. So please contact us and let us know. So let me just take a minute just to reaffirm what matters, what reparative development is. It's about community economic development coming together. It's about partnership and collaboration. And most importantly, it's about sharing your work. We did this webinar because we want to make sure that we're intended to let people know that this model, reparative development, is scalable, is sustainable, and most importantly, this is polished diffusion at best. There used to be things like CDBG grants. Well, it's still kind of there, but it's kind of like dissipating. There were things that block grants. People are trying to find ways to get around this whole notion of DEI. And I don't know when DEI has become illegal, but certainly under this administration it has. But really it isn't. But we found ways to get around that, because reparative development is not just a person of color thing. It's a community thing. And this model is going to probably stand the test of time, certainly, and will become a matter of contemporary policy in moments and minutes and days to come. We were just acknowledged on the international stage the Council of Tall Buildings Urban Habitat, we received an award for this very model. So people are looking. We were also contacted from Seattle, Washington, Raleigh, North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, about how we are doing this work. And because us as Portlanders get a chance to do something so revolutionary, this is so important for the work that we're doing. But again, we have to really take sharing our work really intentional and actually get to do things like this webinar, so you could take these very things and take it with you all to know how best to get to this. So again, if you're interested in this work that we're doing, please contact us. I do also want to say that there's a formal written paper that Bryce and I co-authored about what reparative development is. It's a lot more than just this, what we can share with you in this webinar, but certainly we just wanted to hit the high points of this. We also want to say that this is the first webinar of many that to come. If you are interested in learning more about the development as it stands with townhomes, the business hub, please sign up for the webinar so you can see, we'll talk about those in depth. But this is really important about what matters. Again, community economic development, partnership and collaboration, and lastly, sharing your work, documenting the process. Next slide. So this is the part where we get more engagement. I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Communication Officer, Nicole Early. You have the floor.
Great job, everyone. My apologies for the mouse and the slide issues, but thank you all for being here. And yes, as Azalea mentioned, this is the first of a series of webinars we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing webinars with our developers, different folks involved on each piece of the project, so we can continue to tell this story and continue to provide a blueprint for other cities and communities looking to do this type of reparative development work. And with that, I'd love to open it up for any Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, you should be able to drop them in the chat. And then while we're waiting for those questions, I know we have some incredible project partners on this call, and I'd love to give them a chance to talk. I see we have Angelica, who's a part of our development team at Audrey. Angelica, I'd love if you could say a few words about maybe the business hub. And then we also have some of our lovely funders, Josephine Davis from On Point and Tamara Brown from Heritage. So would love to call you all up. And if you want to share anything, welcome you to just talk about what this project means to you and maybe some of your involvement in it.
And feel free to ask some questions, because I know Tamara might have had a question for Tori.
I think we'll give them a few seconds here. Hey, Joe. You're on mute.
Classic. You would think by this time we would learn. Yeah, I won't take up too much space, but thank you for the opportunity to share thoughts, feedback. This was a wonderful presentation. Very familiar with the project, but it's very powerful to be in a collective space and learn even more. So, On Point's really proud of our partnership with Williams and Russell. We, as an organization, try to build holistic relationships with our nonprofit partners. So we want to fund your programmatic grants, your general operating needs. We want to be at your galas, your luncheons, but we also want to deploy other resources that we have throughout our organization and our network. So that's the model that we use. We're really excited to be a lending partner on the townhomes piece of the project, and it's been wonderful working with the Williams and Russell team in a banking capacity. So these are the kind of relationships that in my opinion, really demonstrate the impact. As a credit union, our business model is to deploy our profits. And so we're looking to fund and to bring value through banking relationships in alignment with that with that mission of ours. So I will end it there, but just so much appreciation. And it's just really exciting to see the projects evolve. And I know this was a long time coming for the community, and it's beautiful to see. So much appreciation.
Thank you, Jill.
Tamara, Angelica, anything to add?
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know, can you hear me? I don't know if you can, if I'm on camera, but.
Yes, we can hear you. You're off camera, and that's okay too. You don't have to be.
Okay, perfect. Hi, this is Tamara Brown from Heritage Bank. First and foremost, I just want to thank you and the community for this project. I used to live right in that area, right on Sacramento, when I first moved to Portland, Oregon, more than 20 years ago. And I'm just excited about what is to come for the families to come back to that area that were displaced, and the businesses, and just first and foremost, just revitalizing that area for the students, for the families, for everyone to come back and make it more beautiful. So I just want to thank you for this project, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to partner with Williams and Russell in any type of way. And I also want to thank our partners at 1803 for funding this amazing and much needed project. Thank you.
Hello, and I'll just jump in. I'm Angelica Rivas, the development manager at Audrey, focusing on the business hub. I think you all really covered the kind of overview of the project, so I don't have anything to add there, but I'm happy to be here if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Angelica. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you all for joining us. We're not getting any questions, so that means you all must have done an incredible job of laying everything out. And we do still have a few more minutes. So yeah, I'll just hand it back over to the panel if there's any last thoughts folks want to share before we wrap up.
Yeah, if I may, first of all, thank everybody, all our community partners, On Point, Heritage, Angelica for coming and just, being on this first webinar. But I do want to turn it back over to Tori, the 1803 Fund. Just, again, we heard about the project, but if you can just indulge us for our last 5 minutes. And I kind of just want to get an idea about what folks really should know, because I'm assuming that people are probably listening to learn about how they can get involved with 1803, if there's a way, or if it's open, or you got to be selected, like what's the process? Just any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's good. I love it. You're not trying to do no gatekeeping here, Azalea. I love that.
No,
That's
I like to share. This is what it's about, sharing.
Come on. Yeah. So I would say probably the biggest front door we have for folks that are putting on experiences that are bringing Black folks together would be our For the Culture sponsorship, which you can find on our website, 1803fund.com. And that's an opportunity for you to apply if what you're doing is in line with our vision. We really see that as an important way to sow seeds early into community, to create points of connection and collaboration, but also to be a resource to so many things, so many experiences, events that are happening large and small within our community. We also, we haven't just yet decided if and when we will do another cohort as what the Williams and Russell is currently a part of. It's for 5 years. And so you'd imagine there's a lot of dedication and bandwidth going to ensuring that you succeed in that work with the other 10 other partners. But we might consider that because we do believe that model matters in terms of again helping us be both intentional and sustaining the work that we want to do long term. We are a young organization, so we're still in our startup, but I guess we are officially have arrived, and yet there's still so many things that we are standing up and defining. And as we do that, we will communicate that out to community. Our intention is to be seen, to be accessible, to be visible. And as you stated with your initial question, is to be clear on how people can engage with this. Every day we're getting emails where people have questions. Can you help us in this way? Can you help us in that way? And for many of them, we're not there just yet. But I love that the community is already understanding the ways in which we can have impact. And it's pressing us to quickly do the things that we need to do to be able to be a resource in much larger and expansive ways. So Those are just the early ways that you can get engaged. Obviously, the newsletter, Insta, all that stuff. You can follow us in terms of our journey, which is, again, supporting our community here in the metro area.
Cool. Does anybody else have, Joe, Tamara, Angelica, Bryson, Tanisha, any questions for Tori? Thoughts, concerns? We have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I just love following the cohort, and thank you for the impactful and intentional funding that you're doing. Philanthropy can be very problematic and seated in some very awful, just frankly, practices and gatekeeping. So I feel like you all are flipping the script on that and prioritizing the communities that need it most. So that's, big fangirl over here.
Yeah, I echo what Joe's comments. This is Tamara Brown, and I just wanted to say to 1803, I really hats off to the cohort. In the space, I work with a lot of nonprofits, and I see that there is power in collaboration with thought process and process and funding with all the nonprofit leaders. And I applaud you all for getting those leaders together to help make them stronger, because we're in for some tough times in the market, and it's going to take a lot of us collaborating together, and that's exactly what you're doing. So thank you so much for that, Tori and 1803.
Thank you, Tim.
And I would just say, as we wrap up, again, Tori, thank you so much for your generosity, your kindness, your consideration for joining us on our first webinar. I thought it was imperative that we make an ask to you all as our #1 top biggest funder. And also the fact that you believe in such a small organization like us that's only been around for 1 year and counting. So we've done a lot in just a short tenure, and we're just so grateful that you gave us a chance. There's many organizations with strong missions and wills and needs that have way more history than we do, but you gave us a chance, and you took a chance on us, and we're so grateful. I'm sure you're going to hold us to our commitments. We're going to make sure we serve well, and that we make sure we continue to have these feedback loops. I think the cohort is a great example where we kind of share our work and kind of keep our meetings going, and we're just committed. We're just super grateful to 1803 Fund and you and Rakaya's leadership. Thank you so much for everything you do. I would just like to lastly say, we are proud to announce on this webinar that we are in fact forming a corporate board. So if you're interested, folks listening out there and want to interest me in a corporate board, join our corporate board. The commitment is 4 times a year. It's not a governing board, but it's simply just a supporting board to say, you know what, I care about what you're doing. I want to get on board. How do I support? And we would love to work in partnership with you, in collaboration with you. Please let us know if you're interested. Please email us and get in contact with us so we can see if we can get some relationship with your organizations or companies. It's been an honor. I'm super happy to be here. And again, it's a pleasure to serve Portland. I love what we do. I love what we stand for. We're doing something revolutionary. We want to bring us something great. Remember, reparative development, no ordinary build. This will be a matter of contemporary policy. Thank you all so much.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Bye, everybody.